they can watch it at home now, you see.
Yeah, that's right. That's the live stream. Got thousands to watch it now, this thing.
That was a little slow anyway. I now call to order the special session meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs on Tuesday, September 9th, 2015 at 6:30. Roll call.
Mayor Archie?
Here.
Vice Mayor Larson is absent and excused. Commissioner Tarpani?
Here.
Commissioner Banther?
Here.
Commissioner Sieber.
Here.
This is just a reminder that the purpose of tonight's meeting is to get public input regarding the fiscal year 2015, 2016 budget. And our first item is Resolution 2015-32, tentatively adopting the millage rate for tax year 2015. And we'll ask that Mr. Herron will review the procedures required by state law.
Okay. The background on the procedures for the adoption of the millage rate for tax year 2015 and the budget are for fiscal year 2015-16 are set forth in Florida Statute 200.065. It has it tells you the whole timeline and process that you have to follow in setting the millage rate and the budget, going back when the property appraiser did assess the values and certified them on July 1st. Trim notices going out 55 days later. And then where we're at right now is the first public tentative hearing on the tentative millage rate and the tentative budget, which is required to be done between 60 and 85 days after the certification on July 1st. Now, these processes are set up in the Florida statutes, how we follow this. So the first one is discussion of the percentage increase in the millage rate over the rollback rate necessary to fund the budget, and the specific purposes for which the ad valorem tax revenues are being increased, including public comment and questions. The rollback rate was 5.2087. The proposed budget right now is 5.45. That is a difference of roughly $358,000. And the specific purposes for that is basically salary increases and the related benefits. There's other things that go up and down, but if I had to just sort of narrow it down to one thing, that's what I had was the salary increases and benefits. And that's all I had for number one. I guess if you want to go into public comment.
Well, we'll ask if the clerk will read this in its entirety, then we'll go to public comments.
Resolution 2015-32, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, tentatively adopting the millage rate for tax year 2015. Whereas a public hearing was held on September 9, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. to adopt a tentative millage rate. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, that 1, the ad valorem millage rate for tax year 2015 of the City of Tarpon Springs is hereby tentatively established at 5.4500, a 4.63% increase over the rollback rate of 5.2087. 2, the city staff is hereby directed to notify all pertinent governmental agencies of the provisions hereof as required by law. That is the reading of Resolution 2015-32 in its entirety.
Thank you. Any public comments on this item? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Question for Mr. Herring. Ron, you talked about the rollback rate and the increase. Could you just go a little bit further for some of the residents who may be watching in terms of, even though we're keeping the same millage rate of 5.45, which we've had for year after year for a couple of years now, but when you say that the rollback rate is increasing, what are the direct effects in terms of dollars, even though we're not increasing the millage rate to the residents?
Well, the rollback rate is below the actual proposed millage rate. The rollback rate is at 5.2087. The millage rate we're proposing is 5.45.
Right.
The increase, what it is, a rollback rate, what it does is it gives you the same amount of revenues that you got last year. So if we were going to try to bring in the same revenues as last year, we would go to the 5.2087, which, like I say, would bring in those same revenues. The 5.45, which is what we've been at for the last few years. And like I say, there's a bunch of I was trying to pinpoint something between, a lot of expenses went up, some went down, fuel went down, some insurance, one insurance went down, some repairs and maintenance on fleet went down, down. But there's like the one thing that I could probably pinpoint for something for the space for the statute was the salary increases benefits that have increased based on the approved salary increases. I'm not sure if that's answering your question.
So the actual revenues are set by the 5.208, et cetera. That's met at that rollback rate.
Yeah.
Revenues are. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sorry, but in the budget, it's at the 5.45.
Right. I understand.
Yeah.
So the excess, or so the $300 and some thousand is the difference between the 5.2 and change and the 5.45.
Yes, correct. 358,000.
Right, 358,000, and we attribute that to to our increase in expense.
Expenses. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Any additional? If not, Chair will entertain a motion.
Move approval. Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Siebert,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther,
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini,
Yes.
Mayor Archie.
Yes. Item number 2 is Resolution 2015-33, tentatively adopting the final budget for fiscal year 2015-2016, and we'll ask the clerk if she will read that in its entirety.
Resolution 2015-33, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, tentatively adopting the budget for fiscal year 2015-2016. Whereas a public hearing was held on September 9, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. to adopt a tentative budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, that 1, the City of Tarpon Springs annual budget for fiscal year 2015-16 is hereby tentatively adopted, and 2, the city staff is hereby directed to notify all pertinent governmental agencies of the provisions hereof as required by law. That is the reading of Resolution 2015-33 in its entirety.
Thank you. Any public comments in this item? Well, the only comment that I might have is I hope that you got the comparison between us and the rest of the cities as far as salaries are concerned. I would still ask if we would, it seemed like Clearwater is kind of high. Panos Park is after them, and then rest of them are somewhat close. The salary for the mayor here is a little higher than some of the others, but the commission salaries are lower. And what I believe is happening, we can kind of check and see, is that Clearwater and Panos Park probably has a mechanism that would automatically be looked at. I think in talking to Clearwater, they have something where if there's a raise for the city is concerned, the commission would get, I think, maybe half. They could refuse it if they want, but that's what kind of happens. So that there's a mechanism so that it takes some of the politics out of it. I think that it's where it's at because nobody ever wants to bring it up because it's like it's somewhat self-serving. But to me, is that to go 10, 15, 20 years and nothing ever is done is not quite the way that it should be. And I can say more than I guess most because I'm not running, and that's what I'm talking about is being political, that we can maybe look at a mechanism that some of the other cities like Clearwater and maybe Panos Park have that actually takes the politics out of it. And if the commission decides that, hey, listen, this is not a year for doing something, they can automatically say, hey, we don't want to do it, instead of it being one where they have to say, hey, well, what about us? I just think that we need to have that type of mechanism built into this. And I think that if we asked the employees of this city to go 15 years or more without any type of raise, everybody would think that would be absolutely ridiculous. But if you're on the commission, it's okay, And I just think that it's a way of trying to take politics out of it. So as we move forward, hopefully we can look at some type of mechanism that can be placed there that would and can be adjusted to meet the to meet the present needs and taking politics out of because no matter what it is, we all know that there's no true compensation. The time and energies and efforts of going on Saturdays, any time for this, for that, that's just, as they say, the cost of doing business. So I would ask that we still would look at the mechanism that some of the other cities have, that it takes it out of having to have the commission itself and the mayor to say, hey, what about us? So that's my comments as far as that's concerned.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Mark, perhaps could we get some information to see, because when I look at salary, and this is a bit of what my firm does, you have to look at total compensation, not just what your pay is. You've got to look at your benefits as well. We have pretty good benefits here that we get as part-time, I use that quotation marks, part-time employees that we, if I'm correct, don't offer normal part-time employees. So I would like to know if these cities offer their commissioners and mayors health insurance. Because to me, when I look at my compensation, I look at the full package, what I make and my health insurance. Now, for the health insurance, I make practically nothing. And that's fine with me. I don't have a problem with that. But when comparing these, this is very helpful. But I would like to see another line where it lists if they offer health insurance to the board, and if so, do they pay for the board members' health insurance in its entirety as we do here? So that would be helpful for me in making a decision.
We can do that. That'd be easy.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, I was also curious to know whether they're having, these other cities have annual increases, whether they've been increasing annually, or like you said, Mayor, if there's some way that they're calculating this on an annual basis.
And we can find out that for you, too.
Yeah. And like I say, some of them I think have it kind of built in, which takes the politics out of it. It's just built in. When you give a raise, then there's X number of percent that would be there, that you can look at any point in time, so that you're not, hey, well, what about us? Because in most of the cities, that's just not going to happen. Nobody's going to be saying, hey, what about us? So that kind of takes it out. And what you find, too, is that if you look, is that some of these cities have expense accounts. Everybody that sits there has a certain expense account that they can do this and that and do different things with. So across the board, there are some things that's different. It's just that the part that me that's the most controversial is, and I've only, I think in my short tenure as far as not only being mayor but being on the council, I can only remember maybe a couple of times of any type of increase. And all of those has come with somebody going out or somebody just bold enough just to bring it up. And most of the time, nobody's going to bring it up. And it just doesn't happen. So,
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Mark, as long as you're going and doing a little bit more additional research, if you just do some form of a comparative thing, I know it's hard to do a scope of job description because so much of our time up here is elective, whether or not you want to do this or do that. But, if you just look and see in terms of these cities being full service communities as well, and that will give us a better idea in terms of job description for their commissioners. So just consider that as well.
Okay. I think I went to public comments. If I didn't, any public comments? There are no additional comments. Then Chair will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. I think that concludes our special session, and we'll adjourn this at 7:44.
6:44.
I'm sorry, 6:44. I want to get a little ahead of myself. When you get older, you need to slow the time down. 6:44, and we'll now go to the Community Redevelopment Agency meeting. I now call to order the Community Development Agency of the City of Tarpon Springs on Tuesday, September 9th, 2015 at 6:44 and a half. Roll call.
Chair Archie?
Here.
Vice Chair is absent and excused. Commissioner Terrapini?
Here.
Commissioner Banther?
Here.
Commissioner Sieber,
Here.
Our first item is Resolution 2015-06, tentatively adopting the found budget for fiscal year 2015-2016, and we'll ask Mr. Herron again to briefly tell us what the procedures are.
Well, the procedure which we follow the same as we just did with for the city. We're still, for the adoption of the budget for fiscal year 2015-2016 are set forth in 200.065 Florida statutes, and briefly stated the procedures which must be followed by the CRA at the public hearing are as follows. Amendment of the tentative budget, and then reading in full the resolution adopting the tentative budget, and motion adopting a resolution of the tentative budget.
Thank you. We ask the clerk if she read the resolution in its entirety.
This is CRA Resolution 2015-06, a resolution of the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, tentatively adopting the budget for fiscal year 2015-16. Whereas a public hearing was held on September 9, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. to adopt a tentative budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, that Section 1, the Community Redevelopment Agency's annual budget for fiscal year 2015-16 is hereby tentatively adopted. Section 2, the city staff is hereby directed to notify all pertinent governmental agencies of the provisions hereof as required by law. That is the reading of CRA Resolution 2015-06 in its entirety.
Thank you. Are there any public comments on this item? Any commission comments? Chair will entertain a motion then.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Chair Archie?
Yes. This will conclude our agenda, and we will adjourn this at 6:46.
And make sure we sign
Yeah,
them.
will you pass those down there?
Oh, okay. One more.
Meeting's over, right?
Yeah.
Irene can tell everybody, today was the first day of registration in school for the GROW group, and you should have been there and stuff. The appreciativeness of the parents and the students that was there, and the hugging and thank yous and stuff. It was worth every penny that we did to just see their faces and being in school today, and the parents, and they're appreciative to everybody. So I know they went down there to notarize the parents' forms, and it was
Wasn't the mayor on Bay News 9, I heard?
yeah.
You were on TV for that, Mayor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I paid that $5 in Rotary, or was it 10 for television?
I don't know. I think they exempt me.
Exempt you?
The camera off Bay News 9 called real fast because they saw it online with the Tampa Bay Times.
Yeah.
Knew it was going to be in this next day, so it was one of those rush. They were calling it. He came in like 5 o'clock. We'll be there in 15 minutes, but we got to get it on tonight. And of course, they wanted to get it on tonight because it'd get on before it hit the newspaper the next day. So, but the mayor did a great interview, and but today was opening day.